When the Air Force started recruiting people, it just captured my attention. And I went in, did all my checks, did all my interviews and everything else, and I passed it. But they said, you're too young, 16 and a half. So they said, we'll call you in a year's time. So I went back to my studies, and exactly 1 year they knocked on my door, and I joined the Air Force.
When Britain announced its withdrawal from Singapore, there was an urgent need to create our own Air Force. With 3 second-hand Cessna aircraft and a handful of young trainee pilots, the RSAF took to the skies.
I had to go through a 1-month crash course for them to verify whether I could fly, which I was able to do after 11 hours. I couldn't even drive a car, and here am I flying an aeroplane. They needed to check us out as whether you can fly solo, can you take off and land the aircraft safely. And they packed us up and sent us off to UK for officer cadet flying training. You must have some natural flair to be able to fly. When an instructor looks at you, you must show that you are comfortable. You cannot show fright in your face. You show excitement, you show determination to want to fly the aeroplane.
At just 18 years old, Frank first flew solo in a Hunter jet fighter, an aircraft that was to form the first fighter squadron in the RSAF.
By the time I went to England, did my officer cadet training, did the basic flying training, got onto the Hunters in UK. When my first solo was done, I felt so good. It really is beyond words. Very good aircraft. My first love. There was a Hunter squadron here in Singapore before the British pulled out, and it seemed to be a natural fit into the Singapore environment given our perspectives at that time about our air defense needs.
In Singapore, Frank continued his training with the RSAF Hunter Squadron and immediately faced the flying implications created by Singapore's smaller size.
Airspace to the Air Force is fundamental. If you don't have that, your pilots don't fly. If they don't fly often enough, they're not going to be current. Your operational capabilities are going to fall.
Singapore is a small country with limited access to training airspace. We therefore had to look for alternative training areas.
What we fell back on was essentially diplomacy. Those countries that we were able to work with well, we started to work with them. And we started to buy other aeroplanes like F-5s, F-16s. We started to use America as our training base. So we left aeroplanes out there. We trained pilots, converted them. They stayed there, they trained there. So similarly, we did so with other countries. We went to Thailand, for example. We went to Philippines. We went to places like Indonesia to do training. And then we went to France. And then we started to conduct bilateral exercises with India. Some of them even went to South Africa. And in Australia, eventually it led to us setting our flying training school in there.
Training overseas with other air forces provides the RSAF with realistic training opportunities and hones their operational readiness. It also strengthens the team's professional and personal ties with many other countries in our region. Frank subsequently went on to join the Black Knights, Singapore's aerobatic team in 1974, and headed the team in 1977 and 78.
In any Air Force, your aerobatic team is the Air Force's ambassador. It is the tool that the public get to know you. Black Knights did a wonderful job in relating to the public at large, and to today, it is still a household name. We don't have the luxury of larger air forces where you can put aside a few aircraft dedicated just to the aerobatic team. The aeroplane and the pilots were still part of the operational force. In that sense, we were uniquely different from other air forces. So For the engineers, it was quite a challenge.
Every time I see the black nights, having smoke coming out from the aircraft means when they come back, you have to clean and change the tank again. So there were a lot of hours to get the aircraft ready for tomorrow's training. In my days, the Black Knights aero show was 4 aircraft. And to do that, for the period of the rehearsal and the actual day, we'll have 1 aircraft on standby on the ground and 5 aircraft will be airborne. For the Hunter aircraft, we have a couple of tanks in the aircraft. One of them is called the rear tank, and we will isolate it so that when we remove this fuselage, we can fill the rear tank with diesel. Then we run the pipe all the way back to the aircraft. When the pilot presses for diesel to come out, it will mix with the hot air, then you get a white smoke in the air. There was one national day where we launched 27 Hunter aircraft in the air.
High-performance jet fighters require teams of dedicated people to keep them in operationally peak condition.
There are so many people and professions involved in the team, besides the pilot. It's like in a football team. Everyone has a role to play: fullbacks, center halves, strikers, goalkeepers. And occasionally you have to help in someone else's role so that you can get the mission done. I'm very proud of the Air Force where it is today. With its F-16, F-15 combination, it's absolutely awesome. Day-night capabilities, airborne capabilities, surveillance capabilities, ability to go long ranges with tankers, ability to move aeroplanes from one place to another very quickly. You are an island, and you need to understand strategically how to configure your 3 forces to survive.
The Air Force plays a vital role in maintaining Singapore's air defence and protecting her sovereignty, and is the result of years of outstanding teamwork and contributions from many servicemen past and present, and it continues to evolve.
Aircraft cannot stay with you forever. Technologies change, situations change, and you have to keep abreast.